Okay. Now, under Prop 19, my understanding is any adult can possess up to an ounce and up to 25 square feet of growing marijuana. What it doesn't allow is persons over 21 to provide to persons under 21 in the sense that it'll create a misdemeanor offense up to 6 months in jail, which is different right now because right now you can give away up to an ounce and it's only a $100 fine as opposed to 6 months in jail, potentially. Okay, now, could a person with a doctor's note have more than an ounce if proposition passes? Well, I'm assuming, and I hope I'm not being asked between you and me, let's assume, but the Prop 19 will not invalidate the medical marijuana laws, and they certainly provide that they can have any amount that's reasonably necessary for their medical needs under Prop 215. There's no limit. So I don't think that'll change as far as patients are concerned. Marijuana policies reach a federal level. Right now we have some propositions before the federal government to provide that in states where there is medical marijuana, that the feds will assume that that law is applicable to federal laws, and so people in the states will that have medical marijuana laws will hopefully be protected against federal laws. And there are some legislation going on right now in the federal government. Hope it passes. Obama has made that statement, essentially, that they don't want to use federal agents to prosecute patients in the states that provide for it, but that statement, he made a policy, hasn't gone too far. The process of legalization is either go through legislation and get the bill passed by the legislators, or do a proposition, which we're doing at this present time. We had a bill very similar to Prop 19 before the Assembly last year, carried by Senator forget his name. Senator Amiano, that provided for tax and regulate, just like this bill almost. And there'll be other legislation that maybe will pass in the future to tax and regulate and legalize marijuana. So that's the two processes in which we can do it. What recommendation could you give people about decriminalization and legislation? Well, it's very important to register to vote, and I think October 18th is the last day, so if you're not registered, vote, okay? You gotta vote. That's huge. You can vote by mail as well. They'll send you an application, so vote. That's number one. And number two is talk it up. I mean, make sure people understand what the law is, and make sure you encourage people to get out and vote. That's the essence of what we have to do at this point. We've got the opportunity to finally get that word legalization out there, which I think will not only change the complexion of California, but maybe the state, maybe the whole world will be influenced to start thinking another vein, and we'll finally legalize marijuana. Finally, I would say no one belongs in jail for marijuana, and we must do what we can to first of all protect ourselves against getting arrested by knowing the law and knowing your rights. And I recommend strongly that you get a copy of my guide. Either go on the website at 1-800-420-LAWS, or call my office. We'll send you a free copy. And in many of the events, I'm giving out copies of my guide, or come into my office in West Hollywood at 8749 Holloway Drive in West Hollywood, and we'll provide you some copies of it. In there is also a little card that provides for police officers to be aware that you do not intend to be detained unlawfully, you do not consent to search, and you're not making any statements, which is usually the Achilles heel to most people that get detained. They consent to search inevitably. They make statements that contradict their intentions and confuse the case and put them in a jeopardy of being misquoted and end up in trouble because they talk. So it's best to be polite to cops, but don't talk. Be courteous, but don't engage them, and don't allow yourself to be detained by police officers. Don't consent to being detained. If they ask you, want to talk to you, you say no and walk away. You can do that. You don't have to be detained unless you consent to it, and you don't have to make statements. And also remember, if you do make statements, anything you say will be used against you, even if you're not Mirandized. If you are under arrest and they still don't Mirandize you, and you make a statement, they still can use it against you if you testify. So making statements, although people just can't seem to not do it because you want to express your concern over your arrest and convince the cop that you're innocent, that's not the place to do it. You're not on the street with a police officer. He's not there to be a judge. He's there to put you in jail and find any evidence that incriminates you. That's his job. Just like it's my job to defend your rights and protect you from the incarceration and conviction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCall.
Pretty good, wasn't it?
Yes.